Welcome to the Spirit of a Badass, where we celebrate stories of courage, hope, and resiliency. I'm your host, Alecia Jacobson.
What's poppin', my badasses? I'm riding solo today. That makes me think of that song. I'm riding solo. I'm riding solo. You're welcome for that. I am here because I read a Instagram post. This was probably 2 weeks ago, but I screenshot it and printed it off because it pissed me off so much. And normally I would reserve this type of banter, maybe you can call it, for Instagram stories. But it would actually probably be good for TikTok, but I'm not well versed in TikTok. That is, if I have one regret from the COVID times, it was that I did not learn TikTok. And I understand it's never too late, but I feel like it's too late. It's not, but I feel like it is. Anyway, there was a post of a pretty well-known creator from the coaching world, and she posted about her son getting engaged. And in this picture, I printed off, it's right here in front of me. I'm not going to name this creator, but they look like they're in their early 20s. Like they look like babies and very happy, showing the ring. And she's kind of gushing about it and talking about a party and all these things. And then the last thing she said is, "Won't they make the cutest kids?" And I'm like, wait, this is the shit that pisses me off. If you remember, or if you haven't listened to it yet, episode 20 is where I brought my bestie, my OG bestie on. She got married, then got divorced, and then remarried to her first husband. So she's been married twice, but just one person. But we talk in that episode on how we both just did what we thought we were supposed to do without even using our fucking brains. We just did the thing and never even thought twice about it. So when I read this post, it fired me all up inside, because it is shit like this mindset, this thinking of, oh, you're engaged. When are you having babies? I don't know them, so I don't know, what their story is, but there is this strong expectation of, here's the path you follow. You go to school, you go to college, you find a mate, you marry that mate, and then you mate with that mate, and then you live happily ever after. Well, that doesn't fucking happen that way. There's so much shit that goes awry along the way. And then when it doesn't happen that way, people feel like absolute failures and trash. And instead of being, taught, follow this path to happiness, we should be asking completely different questions. Not, when are you having babies, or when are you getting married? Are you dating anybody? We should be asking questions like, what do you do with your time? Do you enjoy life? What excites you right now? Like, there are so many other questions that we should be asking young people and just people in general, and broadening this expectation, this path to not be so narrow. It's just so narrow and it's so outdated, and it drives me nuts, mostly because that path fucked me over. And I've seen how it has fucked other people over, women that I work with, that they say, I did this because I thought this is what I was supposed to do. And now I'm unhappy, and I'm in my mid 40s, late 40s, early 50s. And I don't know what to do, because I did all the things I thought I was supposed to do, but I'm not happy. And then you get to the point where you're over consuming, whether it's food, shopping, alcohol, anything. You're doing things to try to fill that void, but that void can't be filled with external things. You have to find it from within. But we were never fucking told that or taught that. And that's what should have been the conversation way back in the beginning, versus having this conversation midway through life, when we've realized that we've been sold a bag of bullshit, and now we have to figure out how to undo everything. I'm wearing sleeves today and I'm sweating. That was a bad choice, but I'm wearing my shirt. And it says, just a regular mom trying not to raise assholes. And I can't tell you how many times I have said, my goal is to not raise assholes. I do not want asshole children. I want them to be kind and care about other people. And if they can, go out and do good in the world. So I feel like this is a fitting shirt today, except for it's not very breathable. And I should have known better because I knew this was going to be an episode that was going to get me all worked up. And here I am, like, profusely sweating. So, all right. This just got me thinking, asking better questions. And one of the questions is, where are you living with blinders on? Because I definitely lived with blinders on. If you've heard, bits of my story, starting back to when I met my first husband, and I was completely doing things that I shouldn't have done, mostly just to rebel against my parents and not kind of do what they told me to do because, hello, Enneagram 8 and Taurus, don't try to control me because I will do everything I can not to conform to what it is that you want me to conform with. Thankfully, I have reined that in. But as I am going through this engagement, we had dated, my parents were very unhappy about it, which, since they were so unhappy about it, I mean, what was I supposed to do other than get engaged? And I remember being in therapy. I can't remember. Well, I think this was after. Let me pause a second on that one. But when I was going to get married, so the day that we were getting married, it was at my parents' house, and my parents have this beautiful backyard with a pond where we were having the ceremony. I was getting ready in my parents' bedroom, and there was sort of like this balcony area that overlooked the backyard. And I remember very vividly looking out this balcony and thinking, I should not be doing this. I should not fucking be doing this. And of course, we all know that I did. I did it. And I didn't listen to myself. So when I talk about, having that inner knowing, and that was one of them. Now, I am so blessed to have my 2 children, and I obviously would not do anything different. I feel like everybody says that. Like, you've royally fucked up. And no, I wouldn't. I take the learning experience and not do anything different. However, if we can save ourselves from future fuck ups, I say go for it. But that's just what I thought I should be doing. And by that time, it'd come around with my family. We were a little bit older. I was no longer a 17-year-old high school kid that was trying to rebel against everything. But I was still young. I was like, I think 24 when I got married. And, your prefrontal cortex is not fully developed until you're 25. So hello, my brain was not fully working. However, what was is my gut. And my gut said, bitch, don't do it. And I did it. Anyway. So that was one. And then we go to counseling, and my therapist, who, oh my gosh, she was the best. I love her, but she saw the train wreck that was coming. She absolutely saw it. And she said, you guys should not have children. Like, you should not do this because, like, your relationship is not good. Again, did not listen. And again, so thankful for my babies. I'm so thankful for them. They are the absolute, like, I would fuck things up all over again. No, just try not to get them fucked up, because that is, again, trying not to raise the assholes. Also saving for therapy for them because, try my best. But I think we all need therapy. And so I had my blinders on because I was doing what I thought I was supposed to do. Getting married. Check. Did it. Have kids. Therapist said we're not supposed to have it. Well, who the fuck, what am I supposed to do? Because I'm married to this guy, and that's the next step. You get married and then you have children. So I can't really listen to you because I'm checking the boxes. And nobody ever talked to me about, like, hey, you can do things differently. I recently saw a woman, she started following me on Facebook. And so we're friends now. And she made a post about, I think it was in her 40s is when she got married. And it was just this wonderful, like, so refreshing to have done things differently, and how happy, I mean, it's Facebook, but she's saying she's happy. So I'm going to take her for what she's saying, but how happy that she is, because she didn't do what society and all these, organizations, people, structures, systems say that we're supposed to do. She did what was right for her. And quite frankly, I think that's right for so many of us. We have our blinders on, not saying that you can't get married before you're 40, but not listening to the societal norms or your parents or your family or whomever it is, whatever structure it is, saying that this is the path that you need to take. And, where are you having these blinders on in your own life that you're kind of just head in the sand, going along with what you think you're supposed to do. And you may not, I don't want to say, take your head out of the sand so you can be fucking miserable. But if you're not happy where you're at, then by removing your head from the sand and peeking around a little bit, it's like, okay, what can you do? Will it be uncomfortable? Hell yeah, it's going to be uncomfortable. When I realized I was freaking unhappy, I will never forget it. November 4th, 2011. Isn't it funny the way like things just burn in your mind? That was the day that I was like, I won't do this. And it was so interesting because it wasn't one of those things where for years I had thought about, I can't do this or I need a divorce. I remember the September 2011, prior to that November, my sister had said something like, you can always get divorced or you don't have to something. And I was like, no, I can't, because my parents were divorced. And one of my main things in starting a family and doing these things was, I'm not going to get divorced. I'm not going to put my kids through, but that's history now. But it went so quick. And I was all of a sudden like, the blinders were off, like the shades were open. There was light everywhere and I could see clearly. And it was just like an overnight switch. And if this is a space where you might be, what needs to happen in your life when you think about like, what is it that brings you excitement or joy, or what needs to change to start, adding that and infusing that in. I'm a big fan of crowding things in versus taking things out. How can you crowd that joy in if you do have these blinders on in whatever way? How can you start putting things in your world that would bring you, happiness? So we have it. This is a short one today. Like I said, this is normally where I would just go and word vomit all over Instagram stories in like a 90-second bit. But I decided that I wanted this to live on more than 24 hours because it really does. It just fires me up. And it is so accepted that we can speak this way, that we can, see any, I'm dealing with it right now. I have a junior and then my stepdaughter is a senior and graduating high school soon. And all the comments of, what's next? What's next? What's next? What have they thought about? And there's so much fucking pressure to do what is next that nobody's fucking paying attention to what's right now. Like it's just so messed up. And I struggle with this too, because it's like in my personal life, I'm constantly thinking what's next. And I'm very into I need a rush. I need a thrill. I need the shiny object. And so I, personally struggle with this all the time. Like this is one of those things where it is a big old work in progress for me. But if you're in spaces in life where you're just going along to get along and you literally haven't even considered a different way, or even this, like, when it comes to, I'm probably gonna get some hate for this, but like traditional marriage and shit like that, or living together, I sometimes think, it does not make my husband happy that I say this, but I sometimes think, would we have been better off if we would have just not moved in together? And not saying I don't want to be married to him. I do. I talk on here all the time, and we are so not like where you talk about, oh, I'm so happy, but really you're fucking not, like, truly. It's very happy. But we did the path of, okay, this is what we're supposed to do. And what if we would have just lived separately with our two families, because he had two kids, I had two kids? What if we would have just lived separately and parented separately. We also have 2 more children now, but that wasn't even an idea to me. So not saying that I want to undo anything, but it's not fucking talked about. But ask better questions to yourself. There was a woman in my women's coaching circle that we meet weekly in our circle. And one of the things when she came back this last week, she said, I have learned now to ask better questions. And by asking better questions, you get a better outcome. Your life circumstances are better because you're asking yourself better questions and you are not just head in the sand going along to get along. You are actually thinking, do I want this in my life? Do I want to go this path? Why am I even fucking here on this path? Like shake things up a bit. So there, just some food for thought today, because seeing, somebody who is just getting engaged all the way fast forwarding to making great babies, like, let's just be where we're at and think about where do we want to go next and do it very intentionally and not just, this is what I've seen everybody else ahead of me do. And so this is what I should do. Just ask better questions and let's use our thinking caps. But anyway, that's my rant for the day. That is my rant. I'm going to go change my sweaty shirt now. Sweaty shirt. Say that over and over again. All right. Have a fabulous day. I hope that this was helpful to make you think a little bit differently, or at least consider the next time you have big decisions to make or anything like that. Or the next time somebody tells you some delightful news or you want to ask somebody when they're having babies, just to shut your trap. We don't need to ask these questions unless they are actively, openly talking to you about it. That is none of your fucking business. None of your business, because that is so much pressure on those people. And maybe they don't even want babies. It's not just, to that one, but I have worked with way too many women that is something that they deal with. So sometimes we just need to shut the fuck up. All right. Go be awesome. Bye.
Spirit of a Badass is a Lit Path Studios podcast and is produced by Jamie Gale and Alecia Jacobson. Music by Shane Ivers. We'll be back with another inspiring interview. Until then, keep your spirits high and your energy badass.